Welcome to Interactive Design 1. In this video we're going to review the course syllabus. And this is going to be just a brief overview of the course syllabus. Hopefully you've had a chance to read it. We just want to go over a couple of the highlights from each section and talk a little bit about what to do if you have any questions. So this course is an investigation of the aesthetic and practical processes, philosophies, and history behind the field of interactive design for on-screen applications. Specifically, we're going to be looking at websites and mobile applications. The prerequisite for this course was R2661, and there are no scheduled meeting times. So this course is being offered 100% asynchronously online through Blackboard. While there are no scheduled meeting times, we do have something of a course schedule. So a week in this course will begin on a Monday and it will finish on a Sunday. And unless otherwise stated, all of the assignments are due. That includes discussions. Your discussion posts and your responses will be due by 11:59 p.m. The day of the listed deadline. So you will have regular graded assignments and discussions due Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So you can kind of anticipate, to check these 3 days, I know that I have to have something turned in for the course. And on those days, let's say it's a discussion post on a Tuesday or it's your peer feedback on a Thursday, your posts are going to need to be submitted by 11:59 p.m. So my tip in this style of a course, if you're not familiar with online courses or you haven't taken one before, you haven't taken many before, is to just start early and often, right? So know that Monday, as soon as that module or that week becomes available in Blackboard, log in, make sure to review it, get a sense of what's required, what the due dates are going to be, and ask questions as early as possible, and then check back frequently. Look for course announcements, look for communication from your classmates. There might be people that you might have classmates that have questions that you can answer, or you might need to get a question answered yourself. So at least every other day is the suggestion for checking into the Blackboard course site. Some of the learning objectives of the course are the fundamentals of UI design, understanding typography, grid, and layout as they relate to UI design. And then we're also going to take a real deep dive into user experience processes and deliverables, right? So researching user interface design or interactive design from the perspective of the user. We're going to learn to use prototyping tools, specifically Adobe XD, and we're going to learn to create interactive prototypes using UI and UX best practices. And we're also going to learn what all of these acronyms and initials mean when we learn the vocabulary of interactive user and user experience design. Some of the guidelines for the course. So all assignments need to be completed by the listed deadline. There are several group components to the course, particularly peer feedback. Your classmates are going to need your feedback to move forward. You're going to need feedback from your classmates to move forward in each project and in each project's milestones. So it's really important that all of the assignments are turned in on time. As a result, late work will not be accepted. There's also no options for makeup work or extra credit. And in this course, as in life, no dishonesty, plagiarism, or cheating. If you have any questions about, if you want to use images or assets and things that you find online, feel free to ask me or ask in the kind of group forum or the discussion board, if it seems right, if you have any questions. And then original work only. So if you're doing, maybe side work or you have work in another course, those are not acceptable for turning in for your projects. Finally, disruptive, rude, or disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. Final note here, participation in critique is a major part of your grade and your evaluation. So really take those seriously. Make sure we're giving good feedback to our peers and make sure we're also getting good feedback. That's a really important skill to learn, is being able to give and get critique. For the course materials, there's no required textbooks. There is a list of recommended readings. As you if you're interested in the field of UI, if you're interested in the field of UX, there are some books to add to your library. We're going to make some recommendations throughout the course. You will need a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. You will need to have Adobe XD installed. That's going to be our primary tool in this course. Your computer will need to run that software successfully, and high-speed internet is always helpful. Finally, you will need a word processing and presentation software. I think Office is available to YSU students if you do not have it already, but any word processing and presentation software will work, as we're working to write out those discussion posts, write out that feedback, and then bundle our projects in a final package. Just a quick note on some of the course policies. Regular attendance is required. So what does that mean in an online course, right? It means logging into that Blackboard course site at least every other day, and checking your YSU email, and also checking the course site for important course announcements. You can use the weekly Q&A discussion board to communicate publicly with your classmates. So any questions that you have that aren't private or personal, definitely post those. If you have a question, odds are your classmates have a question as well. That gives me an opportunity to share some information, share some group feedback as well. I prefer email communication. I check my email fairly frequently. Most of my responses are going to come in the evening, but I can also set up virtual meetings. So I don't have at this point scheduled office hours. I can make myself available, most of the time. Send me an email if you do need to schedule office hours or schedule a virtual appointment. We'll find a time and day that works for you. You can expect responses from me within 24 to 48 hours. I typically will respond to every email in 24 hours. If you haven't heard from me in 48, definitely get back in touch, or remind me, or follow up to see what happened. Emails get lost. It's easy to kind of get distracted, unfortunately, or just get kind of a tidal wave of email some days. So always follow up if you haven't heard from me in at least 48 hours. And then just a final note here that additional time might be needed or required on weekends and holidays. And then finally, all of this is subject to change. If I do have to make any changes, I will communicate them in Blackboard or through email.